शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ऋकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवद्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया अस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिवा कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सुवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मा ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्व एधि Vedasya ma'ani isthaha Shrutam me ma prahasihi Anenadhitena Ahoratran sandadhami Ritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu mam Avatu vaktaramavatu vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Bhadranno apivataya manaha Om Shanti 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 Bhadran karnebhihi shrunuyama devaha Patyam pashyema akshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai istuštuvagum sastanubhihi Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu Swasti na indro vriddhashravaha Swasti nः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यो ब्रह्मानं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तगुं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ इत्येतदक्षर इदगुं सर्वम् ॐ इत्येतदक्षर इदगुं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवद्भविष्यदिति भवद्भविष्यदि सर्वम् ओंकार एव यच्चान्यत्रिकालातीतं तदपि ओंकार एव सर्वगुं ह्येतद्ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात् So the way the Upanishad is structured, there are only 12 verses, and apart from the Karika, which we will talk about later on, just the structure of the Upanishad. So out of the 12 verses, the first verse is what is called Omkara Vichara. So we did that already, which is an examination of the symbol Om, which is both can be taken as Abhidhana and Abhidheya, as we have seen. Both has a name as well as the content. And in a way, the two ultimately merge together. Like, for example, when you say table, you don't look upon table as a separate word from the Vastu table. They are merged together. They are, in the beginning they are separate, but in the end they all merge together. So similarly, Omkara is both the name of Ishvara, of Brahman, as well as the very content of Brahman. And so ultimately, when you understand what the content of Brahman is, then the name immediately invokes it. Just like when you say table, it immediately invokes the Vastu table. So that is a brief explanation and a brief analysis of the word Omkara, which is given in the first verse. Then The second verse which we are now finishing is the vichara for Atma or Brahman, one and the same. So the Atma vichara is given here. So, and in fact these two apparently separate names, Brahman and Atma, are given identity in this verse, as you say. So sarvam hi etat brahma, ayam atma brahma. So that was given. So this, the second verse is Atma Vichara, which we will finish today very briefly. So the first and the second verses is just an introduction. Then the third through the seventh verses, number 3 to number 7, is the details of the Atma Vichara. Now we will see. So when you say I, then we need to examine what does this I that I am referring to really means. What's your sense of experience? How do you view it? And what are some of the mistakes we make that create this problem of samsara for us? So this would be taken up in the 3rd through the 7th verse. We'll probably even start the 3rd verse. If not, then we will do it next time. Then the verse number 8 to 12 go back to Omkara Vichara. Omkara Vichara, again in terms of the Abhidhana and Abhidheya in much more detail. So the first and second verses are introductory, and number 3 to 12, which is the end of the Upanishad, are the actual detailed contents of two aspects of this that are being pointed out. So this is how we're going to proceed. So one thing that Swami Paramarthananda pointed out very nicely is that if you look at the Mandukya Upanishad and how it presents, so the issues are really, as we mentioned even in the last class, the main issue in our life is lack of viveka. Lack of viveka is the main issue, that we are not able to extract the reality from the non-reality. They all seem like mixed up into one. Like for instance, if you look at the world, you look at the experiences that you have, that's what the world is. Our experiences in our life. If you look at those experiences, what you find is that as those experiences are presented to us, they appear to be it. That's it. That's what the experiences are. That's what my composition of my life is, nothing but an addition of all the experiences. This is the extent of my life. And good and bad, that's a separate thing. But at least the analysis of my life is just a combination of set of experiences. And the set of experiences, when you say, are they real? What do you mean by are they real? They are. Of course they are real. What are you talking about? What else is there? That is the reality. So, the thing that we have to see is that, the Upanishad and the Shastra says that no, this is mithya. Very nice way to put this. Swami Maheshananji really very well presented this. I don't see it as mithya. I don't see it as mithya. I can see the dream as a mithya, but I don't see my everyday life as being mithya. This is satyam. So a better way to look upon the experiences of life, which goes back to doing viveka, Because as I mentioned before, our problem is lack of viveka. Because viveka means two things are getting mixed up. And I'm not able to distinguish which is which. They all appear to be all the one same ball of wax, which is series of experiences. That's all I have. Swami Vaishnaji pointed out that, listen, I think you should, the better way to look upon the world, end result is the same. But instead of starting with the point that the world is satyam, the world is mithya, start with the fact that the world is satyam, which is equal to my experiences. So start with that. But please see, not say, but please see that Brahman, which is the Atma, is satyasya satyam. This is the interesting thing. Instead of seeing that the world is mithya, which I have a hard time grappling with because it is contrary to my experiences. My experiences are that I'm dealing with reality. That's what it is. So you start with the reality as you see it. But then you do an analysis of satyasya satyam, the truth of the truth, the reality behind the apparent reality. Beautiful. It's a very good way to really do the analysis. So this is the introduction that the Shastra gives, that there is in fact a higher level of reality than the one you experience. This is a good way. I don't see it yet, but I am at least willing to look at it. Instead of saying this is mithya, this is mithya, this is mithya, which I don't see, I don't even accept it. End result is the same. You can start with this is mithya also, but a better way to look at that is that Brahman is satyasya satyam. Something which is even more real, and it turns out very pleasant, very beautiful, very joyful. This I am not sure I get. This is what I need to understand. What is the satyasya satyam? So if I begin to understand that, and this is the whole teaching all about, then I progress to that point in a more natural way in terms of how I look at my experiences. This is a very good way of looking at it. So having said that, Mandukya Upanishad gives a very interesting picture, a very interesting, what is called, is a word in our Shastra used called prakriya. Prakriya. So prakriya is a method. Is a method to arrive at the truth. And there can be various methods. Like, for example, supposing you are teaching, there are various methods of arriving at the same truth. So like you're teaching math to a child. Then you can say, and there are various methods. You can say, okay, there are 2 apples here and 2 apples here. How many apples are there? And believe it or not, when the child first starts, he says, understand, what do you mean? They look upon the 4 apples sitting there as 4 separate apples. Whether they are together or they are separate, it doesn't matter. So you're trying to teach them math. What that means is that even if you don't see the apples in front of you, which is the first step, you're never going to ask a child, okay, how much is 2 plus 2? He will just look at you and say, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you say, okay, child, there are 2 apples here, and there are 2 apples over here, all together, do you see all 4 of them? They'll say, yes. The name for all 4 of them is 4. So the name has to be given, 2, 4, etc. Then you can say, this is true for everything. Close your eyes, you're not looking at the apple. Supposing imagine there are 2 bananas on the right hand side, 2 bananas on the left hand. All I'm saying is, these are all prakriyas. Ultimately, the thing you have to do is, you have to get enough smarts. And believe it or not, this is not even done properly. So this is why many of the uneducated people, adults in India, for example, elsewhere also, if you give them some ordinary thing, okay, and say you multiply 2 by 7, how much does it? They're not able to do it. Not able to do it because the prakriya was never presented to them. So this is what is called a formula. So the formula has to be slowly arrived at by first doing something very simple and then doing something more sophisticated, and finally you can now ask some 6th grade teacher, 6th grade person, and you can come up with all kinds of interesting formula. So this is what is called a prakriya. And the prakriya could be, you may do subtraction. You will say, supposing you have 6 apples and I take away 2, how many are left? So first you do addition, then you do subtraction, and so on. In the Upanishads, there are different prakriyas used to arrive at the same truth. And the truth is, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This is Shankaracharya's Brahma Satyam. This is what we have. This is the ultimately what I have to arrive at. Is that there is something more than what it appears to be. This is the ultimate. How we arrived at that is different. So Swami Paramarthananda pointed this out very nicely. He says that if you look at the other Upanishads, the prakriya that many of the other Upanishads, particularly Taittiriya Upanishad that we just finished, where we do Panchakosha Viveka, you look at the other Upanishads, the general prakriya, methodology, prakriya means methodology, is that the effect is mithya and the cause is satyam. This is true. Like, for example, you analyze the golden ornaments and then you start with the enumeration of the ornament, all of its properties, how beautiful it looks, and so on and so forth. But then you point out that really speaking, the ornament is nothing but an ornamentation of the content, which is gold. That in fact it borrows everything from the gold. It borrows its luster, its weight, its touch, everything from the gold. And so from that perspective, the effect is vulnerable, but the cause is more secure. And in fact, this is the truth. You can melt the ornament and the ornamentation of the form is gone, but the gold remains. So from all perspectives, this is what is called paraha. Parataha paraha. In fact, you can say satyasya satyam. So this is the prakriya used, which is to go from effect to cause. Effect to cause. In the Mandukya Upanishad, Swami Paramarthananda pointed out that the prakriya is something different. And what is it? The prakriya is you, the Atma, is Satyam. And anything which is not you, Anatma, is Mithya. So here the difference is, there's several differences. One difference is you are not talking about the example of the golden ornament, which we could, it's the same thing. But you're coming to straight away to the final prakriya. Really what matters to you and I, what matters to everyone, is not whether the gold and the ornaments, which is Satyam, which is Mithya. This is kind of nice to know. But what does it do for me? This is an intermediate step. What I'm interested in doing is, who am I? Is there something that is more than what appears to me in front of me? What appears to be in front of me, that I'm a mortal, subject to problems, and surely going to disappear. Not even an if, it's only a question of when. So it's all going to, this is my conception of myself. And I'm interested in knowing, is there something more than that? Maybe. So the prakriya, which, this is why the Mandukya Upanishad is so beautiful, so profound, and so advanced. It's advanced because the prakriya hits home directly to me, not in gold and ornaments and something like that. That it is in fact helping me maybe to understand that I am Satyasya Satyam. Not gold is Satyasya Satyam, which is okay, I understand that, but it doesn't do anything for me. But if I can understand there is something more than what the transitory person that I take myself to be me, if there is something more than that, which is more profound, something lasting, something beautiful, something joyful, then I am interested in that. This is why the Mandukya Upanishad's prakriya is hits home directly. It should hit home. And by the same token, I have to really elevate my thinking. I have to follow the intricacy of the arguments, and I should have the courage to give up. So this is why the both viveka and vairagya are important, because that is the test. You cannot say, I am Brahman, and then you act like a fool. Can't do that. Those two, you yourself are fooling yourself. You do adharmic things. And so if you want to treat the disease, then don't go after symptom hunting. Understand what the disease is and how to eliminate it. So this is the ultimate prakriya, I think, if you look at this. So I thought it was very well done in terms of understanding what the final prakriya should be in the Upanishad. So now we pick up the thread from last week, So at this point in time, the second verse of the Upanishad, which is Sarvam Sarvagum hi etat brahma ayamatma brahma saha ayamatma chatushpat, is just a summary. This is like 1/100th of what is going to come. So we should not spend too much time yet, because all the details are going to come in the Karika anyway. We can, but it'd be better to just proceed slowly. So in the terms of, and it's interesting that really speaking, the entire prakriya, the entire answer is all given in the second. You really just need 1 and 2. You don't need the rest of it. Remember, I told you that 1 is the introduction. A better one in that introduction is 1 is a summary. 2 is a summary. 3 to 7 and 8 through 12 are details. So the summary should suffice, and it does. Really speaking, by the end of today, when we summarize the second verse, we're not done yet. The pravilapanena, how it just, you have to dissolve the 3 states. So we'll finish that today. But after we finish it today, we're done. We're done. This is the answer. And if you come up at the class and said, "Thank you very much, I really appreciate what you taught, I'm done. I'm not coming back," I would respect you. Good. Chances are it's not going to happen. Even though you will say, yes, this looks good and so on and so forth, but this is where we have so many ifs and buts. So then all the resolution of the doubts and so on continue. But really this is a fact that after the second verse, the whole Upanishad, the very essence of the whole Upanishad will be finished. That's it. Well, let's see what the essence of the Upanishad is. So there we saw that Adi Shankara had given these two, so Atma Chatushpat, just a reminder of where we were so that you are following it in a structured manner. So there we said Atma Chatushpat. So this Atma, which is nothing but Brahma, has 4 feet. And so Chatushpat here means both the method of reaching as well as the final destination. The 4th one is the destination, and the first 3 are the method of getting to the destination. Okay, so we had talked about it. So this was presented in the Adi Shankara's Bhashya as Trayanam Vishwadinam Purva Purva Pravilapanena Turiyasya Pratipattihi iti Karana Sadhanaha Padashabdaha. So Karana Sadhanaha are the first 3. Then he said Turiyasya Padyate iti Karma Sadhanaha Padashabdaha. That in the Turiya, which is the destination, one which is reached is called the Karma Sadhana, means that is the destination. So the explanation of Turiya, Turiyasya Padyate iti means the explanation of Turiya, if you understand, you have reached. And we will see the summary of that today. I promise to complete it. So you'll see the summary of that. What is the explanation of Turiya? Okay? So that's what we are doing. So we were proceeding along Purva Purva Pravilapanena. So what we did in the last class was that the method is, so the method is viveka. Viveka. So viveka means to separate the truth from the untruth. And it's kind of like, you can see this, keep that example in mind, or very popular example, that if you have a wave of the ocean who is afflicted with the worry and fear of not staying too long, very disappearing very quickly. And supposing the wave has some consciousness, which means that the water has consciousness. Supposing the water has consciousness, that means the wave has consciousness. And the wave's consciousness is, I am a wave. Say, okay, so, and I am in a very sad shape. So why? Because I am really afraid of disappearing. And even while I'm here, people are always pushing me, and I'm changing, and I can't hold myself. And I'm going to disappear. So there, the method is for the guru wave to come in and say, no, you're making a mistake. You don't understand. You are not just a wave. Yes, you are a wave. It's not as though you and I can't see you. I also see you as a wave. You also see yourself as a wave. But there is something more to it than what you take yourself to be. And so try to dissolve. Don't you see that while you are a wave, you are still being supported by the water. And you are disappearing into the water, coming up again, changing. It's nothing but water alone. Don't you see it? Dissolve yourself into the water. I don't want to dissolve it because even as though I am already going to be disappearing, you're making me disappear even quicker. Say, okay, don't dissolve yourself. Think about it. That are you not just made up of water? Isn't your content the water? Don't you see that eventually you will be dissolved? Can't you imagine that you can be dissolving? He says, yes, that I can do that. But he says, I'm having difficulty. I know. But just this is the truth. So similarly here also, the jiva is told that if you want to understand satyasya satyam, then slowly learn to dissolve your experiences in the manner that I am telling you. Follow this. This is why they say that the following of the reason is important based on what the Shastra says. Don't have an independent reason. You've been using independent reason, it hasn't gotten you anywhere. Don't abandon thinking and reasoning. Don't abandon that. But follow what I am telling you in this manner. And I promise you, you will get somewhere. This is what the Shastra says. So, Shruti as a pramana, not shushka tarka, not the dry logic that we all combine together. Hey, if I don't, this is what science also does. There's no atma, there's no consciousness. We see that in front of me. Show it to me in front of me. This is shushka tarka. And you can't even take the next step and say, don't you see that the Atma, which is the very content, doesn't need to see itself? And the scientist will just walk away and says, these guys are foolish. What are they talking about? They won't even cross that even thinking. So the Shruti says, please follow your reasoning. Keep your reasoning. Reasoning like if there is an ornament which is less real than this is a reasoning. This is reasoning. It's not as though you just say, no, everything is mithya, everything is satyam. No, not nonsense. Keep your sense about it, but follow the way that I am taking you down the path of dissolving. So there we saw that the first step is to try to dissolve my waking state into the dream state. And by dissolving the waking state means see the similarity. Because up to this point, we only see the dissimilarity. And we let the dissimilarity influence my conclusions. The dissimilarity is that the dream state comes and goes very quickly, leaving nothing in the wake except for a couple of seconds of just saying, oh wow, what a dream it was. That's it. And then you grapple with the reality of your life. So these are the dissimilarities. Dissimilarity means that the dream is very short, doesn't seem to do very much, don't know why it is there. And this is the real life. This is the dissimilarity. One is kind of like not real, the other one is real. Shastra says you've been doing this. It hasn't gotten you anywhere. And in fact won't get you anywhere. Because again you'll be searching. You are a searcher. You are looking for freedom, my friend. And you are trying to find freedom in the wrong places. There is freedom. But the way to do that is to follow what I am telling you. Because up till now, it has not done anything. And again, what will happen is you are still searching and you will search it in the next life. This is going to go on and on until you figure out what is the nature of the search. What am I searching for? I'm searching for unconditional freedom in my life. How am I going to achieve it? And so through the Shastra it says unconditional freedom is yours already. You are the ultimate freedom. Praptasya prapti, natu apraptasya prapti. And the way to do that is to say, okay, at least I'm listening to you now. At least the logic seems to be okay. But it is contrary to my experiences. It says, yes, we know it. We know it's contrary to your experiences. No doubt about it. But follow how to dismiss your experiences. And the way to dismiss the reality of your experiences is to look at your Jagrat Avastha, your waking state, as essentially nothing except alike your dream state. So now follow the similarity. So far you've been following the dissimilarity. So do the similarity, and the similarity is that you create the experiences And you see the experiences dissolve, and you still remain the same. This is what I have to follow. And it is easier to see in a dream. This is exactly how it was done. People don't understand this, that the design of the jiva is very meticulous, very sophisticated, very purposeful. How the three states are given. And it's interesting, this is why this, even the cycle of 24 hours is very carefully designed by Ishvara. Because in 24 hours, the whole circle is repeated. You've had some degree of your state in the Jagrata Avastha, some in the Swapna Avastha, and Swapna in the Sushupti Avastha. Then you start all over again. And this is done all your life, and finally you have to say, what is going on? What's the purpose of all of this? And then your inquiry begins to now take some shape. So therefore, start to look at the similarity. And the similarity is that the whole set of experiences are nothing but your own creation. There are some dissimilarities. So the dissimilarities have to be seen as secondary, not primary. The similarities have to be seen as primary. And the dissimilarity is that the infrastructure for your dream is created by yourself, whereas the infrastructure of your waking state is created by someone else other than you. That's all. It's kind of like, you're either, something I just popped up in my head. It's something like you do the complete painting yourself from start to finish. Or perhaps an outline is given to you and you now do the same painting on that outline. But if you're a painter and you have to create a big, beautiful painting, elaborate painting with people and this, that, or the other, it doesn't really matter. 99% of that is going to be your effort in painting. And either you visualize it on your own, fine, or some kind of an outline is given. Like, for example, one of my friends, she specializes in making painting out of portraits. So somebody says, please make a painting of me. People like to do that. Portrait is easy. You just take your iPhone and take a picture and then that's it. These days it is just amazing how things are changing. Isn't it? Cameras are gone and pictures are being taken without your knowledge and being sent. It's incredible. I tell you, what Steve Jobs, even he didn't realize what he was doing. He just thought it'd be nice to have some programming with the phone and so on. My God, this is incredible what is happening. The cottage industry and the information and Uber and this, that, anyway. So one thing could be that somebody has just given you an outline and say, please make a painting out of it. But 99% of the painting is done by you. The outline is kind of forgotten. Similarly is the case that really speaking, the only dissimilarity is that here an outline is given to you. And the outline given to you also is generated by you. This I don't realize. This I don't understand. The outline also was ordered by you. Your parents were ordered by you. You asked Ishvara, can I please be born in such and such? Whether unconsciously or subconsciously or whatever, that's a separate thing altogether. You don't write a letter and say, okay, I want such and such, my mother should be 5 feet 6 inches tall and so on. But it's all ordered by us. Your whole body. You know, just like you build a house, exactly the same way. You build, you design it. Now, we got it done, my wife and I, this is the only time we should do that. After that, it's it. It's just so much work and there's so many problems but it's kind of nice to do that once. So we did that. We bought some land and somehow collected some money, this, that, or the other, found an architect from Romania who was the only architect we could afford. His fee was $4,000. This was in 1983. Terrible guy. Where he should have had view windows, he put walls. But that's all we could afford. Nowadays, if you go to an architect, they start with one of my wife's clients, kind of a relatively rich guy. You won't believe this. The architect is charging more than $1 million. So you design a house. Similarly, believe it or not, you and I have chosen this body. Where we are born, under what parentage, what kind of siblings we are going to have, and then ultimately, what kind of a spouse we marry to. All ordered. And in the Western world, you can choose your own. You can choose your own spouse. You fall in love. That's why they say you fall in love. You don't rise in love. You fall in love, and you say, "Yeah, this is the person for me." Yeah. You don't realize what's going to come. You just have a very small experience. And most of the time we go by looks and so on and so forth. We don't look at the beauty of the person inside. And in the arranged marriage system, that's pretty much the same. You abdicate your responsibility to your parents and they choose the spouse for you. But anyway, this whole life is really an infrastructure. And so the infrastructure which is given by someone else is according to your specifications. So look at this, even there, I say that it is dissimilar, but even there the dissimilarity is not pronounced. In one case, you develop the infrastructure for a dream on the spot, ad hoc and changing. And the other one, the infrastructure that you ordered is more lasting. That's it. One case it's just like 2 minutes, the other one is like in 100 years. That's it. But basically it remains the same. And so that is if at all there is a dissimilarity. The similarity is, this is where we have to really follow the lead of the Shastra. Don't you see that you are creating a world of your own? You know that painting we talked about? Yes, there is some skeleton which is given to you, but how you infuse it with colors and paintings and forms, and so it's all up to you. This is what we do in our lives. Yes, there are some mothers and spouses and friends given to you, but how we look upon them and so here, this is the thing. If you analyze your experiences, you find that the physical experiences are very small. Yes, you may have a severe illness. At that time, the physical experiences take the center stage. Yes, you are very concerned about, one of my students just said that he had a very severe bout of gout and he was really in a sad shape for a few days. Yes, at that time, the physical ailment takes central stage. You're really devoted to it. You're feeling the pain and the discomfort and so on. But really, that is a very small part of your whole life. The most prevalent part of the whole life is nothing your own emotions, your likes and dislikes, your regrets, your desires, your planning, your sankalpa. Here our acharyas say, Swami Maheshananji and others, they all say, ultimately, what your life should turn into is to be devoid of sankalpa. Sankalpa meaning you say, I think I'm going to do this. Wouldn't it be nice if ... This is called sankalpa. And we've been doing sankalpa all of our life. You don't need it. Let things happen as they do. It means that if there is hunger, then you can't say, if there is hunger, then I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to eat a hamburger. Don't do that. Whatever is available, whatever is the most convenient, just to live by, just go with that. If you do that, Swami Maheshananji made a beautiful, excellent analogy. He said, people who are swimmers in their swimming pools. He says, I find them very interesting to observe, because these swimmers, they have to create their own waves in a still water. And they have to swim and so on and so forth. And there is a certain methodology of learning swimming and so on. He says that the same person, when he visits Haridwar or Rishikesh or Gangaji, whose water is flowing very swiftly, and he says it is a joy to swim in the river which takes you miles. And you can be downstream in 20 miles and you can ask somebody, please bring your car there and meet me there. And he says it is, and he says it's interesting, I saw his commentary on this. He says, I find it very interesting that these swimming pool swimmers, when they enter the river, they're lost. They're lost because they're trying to fight the flow, trying to come up with their own swimming. It says it's a mess. I see them. And he says some of us that have never seen a swimming pool, they've always lived in the river. And they don't even, all you need to do is to learn how to float. That's it. But this breaststroke and butterflies and so on and so forth, you don't do any of that. You enjoy the flow of the Ganga. And just come up Just take a breath for a while and then let the river take you and you enjoy it. He says, what a joy it is in the swimming in the river. Similarly, he says, our life is full of sankalpa. It is full of our own breaststrokes and butterflies and freestyle. And I find I'm responsible for it. If I don't do it, I'm going to sink. When in fact, the life is more like a river. You don't realize it. There is a certain flow to it. Let it go. Enjoy it. There are a lot of things going on. And if you just simply let it go, let yourself go, and don't plan ahead and do sankalpa, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Don't do it anymore. You don't need anything. You need a little bit more time to sort it all out. Study and see yourself. That's it. Yes, you need some, if you have a family, you have to support it. I'm not saying that, I'm talking about really as we progress in our life towards the vanaprastha stage, where you're no longer a grihastha. But no, we want to hang on to our children. How are you doing? Have you met somebody good to marry? If not, you want me to do it for you? Grandchildren, we are continued to be attached to them. We are not willing to let go. The grandchildren will let go of you. They have to be reminded. This is what happens. Our son will say, hey, Arya, give a hug to grandpa. Before that, they would come by themselves. Now they have to be told. It's a beautiful thing. They just want to be on their own. What is this hugs business and so on and so forth? When we enter, they'll say hi, and they go back to their old stuff and stuff like that. Beautiful. It's our problem. It's just, Arya did not give me a hug today. So let the life flow. And see that there's no need to do sankalpas and so on and so forth in your, at least in your vanaprastha section. Certainly in sannyasa, but even in vanaprastha, the whole life is a preparation. Stop the planning. Here, I just remind you of the example that Swami Maheshananji gave about, remember this? I think it was this class. Was it this class I was talking about this girl that dropped the cloth bag? I don't know if it was this class or not, but anyway, Swamiji said, Swami Maheshananji was writing, he said, I was teaching one day, and on the back of the class, sometimes, people bring their young children in the class, even though they're not for listening for the Vedanta, but they just bring them because there's nobody at home and so on. So this girl was sitting in the back, and she had some school supplies in a cloth bag. And in India, the same thing as here, the cloth bag doesn't have a zipper. It's it's closed on three sides, and the top side is open. So this girl had all her school supplies and so on. And for some reason, she picked up the bag from the wrong side, and the whole thing fell down. Plop, pencils, pens, books, this, that, or the other. Swamiji said, I was watching this girl. He said, it's made me so sad that she was so ashamed of what she did and so fearful of what her mother and father will say, that I sat there and I said, my goodness, for something so small as this, to have a fear is unnecessary. So you dropped it, you dropped it. Pick it up and go on singing songs. What's the big thing? But this girl, let's say it's a girl, she was saying, oh my God, I hope my mother didn't see me. Why? Because the mother will say, you're the most foolish person I've ever seen. You don't take care of yourself. You're never really thinking. And this is what life comes out to be. This is where Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, to parents, you can slap your child if you want to. That's not that big a deal. Here it is a very big deal. You cannot touch physically and so on. But much worse are seriously spoken words to them that are critical of them. He says, and all the acharyas say this, that vak, speech, is the most damaging because the effects of the speech, the slap will go. You can say, I'm sorry, this, that, or the other, don't do it again, finished. But a speech where you say, you are so stupid, you'll never amount to anyone. If you keep on doing careless things like this, your life is going to be terrible. It's the worst thing that you can do. And Swamiji says, I was watching this girl, and the fact that she dropped things didn't bother her, but she was watching everybody. What are they going to say? And especially her mom. What is she going to say? Swamiji says, how sad it is. How sad it is. Just live the life. Just comfortably. Move forward with it. So, I really took this tangent on the Sankalpa, and I think some time has passed, so I will not complete what I promised to you. I'll do that next time. But I think that the progression of our life should be that we should begin to dissolve our Jagrat Avastha by looking at the similarity of that with the dream state, which is, it is my own imagination. I am creating this whole thing. And then I fall a victim to it. Then I fall a victim to it. I create this whole thing and I fall into it. And so the advice given by the acharyas is that your beginning of the end to the gain of freedom will come when you stop doing sankalpas. When you have your food to fulfill your hunger, not to go to a new restaurant, not to try tasty food. That is a sankalpa. What are we going to have? Yesterday we also had Mexican food. Let's go for Chinese. Sankalpa. Sankalpa. Just eat dal roti. And instead, so just eating dal roti, what that does is, that allows you to look at the similarity between Jagrat Avastha and Swapna Avastha more. Instead, if you are more worried about going to a Chinese restaurant rather than a Mexican restaurant, you are externally focused. You are now you are giving more reality to the world. Anyway, that we haven't even finished so next week we will, I can't even do any sankalpa, I can't even promise that to you. Whatever happens, happens. But we will plan to do the dissolution of the Jagrata Avastha into Swapna Avastha and the dissolution of the Swapna Avastha into Sushupti Avastha, the deep sleep, and dissolving the deep sleep into turiya. This is what's going to happen. This is just I always end with an advertisement, so you come back for the next class. Okay, so we'll do that next week. Om Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Tesho Yam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Patrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Yeah, Sri Ram.
So we were talking about Prakriya, so Mandukya is one Prakriya.
Yeah.
And Taittiriya also has Panchakosha Prakriya.
Correct.
Are there any other Prakriyas in other Upanishads?
Yeah, there's lots of different Prakriyas. So, for example, Drik Drishya Viveka is also a Prakriya. So there, it's progressively brought into what is Drishya and what is Drik. What is temporarily seen as Drishya can be dissolved into a Drik, which itself is nothing but a Drishya until you dissolve it to the next level. And finally you come to the Sakshi where Drigeva Natu Drishyate. So that is a kind of like a Prakriya. So similarly, there are lots of ways of looking at it, but those are the two primary Prakriyas, which is the Karana-Karya Prakriya and Atma and Atma Prakriya. Yeah.
Okay. One more question.
Yeah.
So Mandukya Upanishad is about the three padas plus the fourth.
Correct.
And in the 24 hours of the day, we see the three padas. So 24 out of 24 hours, we are going through the three padas, the three stages.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any point in time or millisecond where it is purely fourth stage alone in the day, or it never doesn't happen till it happens?
Not purely. It is all mixed. So it is mixed in the sense that it is there all along, but not discerned separately from it. A beautiful example that Swami Vidyaranya gives in Panchadashi. Excellent example. He said, supposing your children are doing they're learning to chant, and they're doing some chanting in the temple. And so one day the teacher says, all the parents are invited, we are ready to perform. So there's 20 children all sitting there just chanting, let's say Rudram. And your daughter is also there chanting Rudram along with the rest of the people. And so now at the end of the performance, and you see that your daughter is moving her lips, and teeny bit you can see her voice, but her voice is mixed up with other voices. It's not as though she's alone that you can listen to. So there's a very beautiful example, because it's not as though you did not hear your daughter sing, but it was mixed up with other things, so that was difficult to make out per se. So similarly here also, the Atma in all the three stages of the 24 hours is mixed up with other things. So it's not as though it is not there, but you don't see it separate from it. And so that itself should give you some shraddha, that it is there, but you're not able to see it separately. And so, yes, so then samadhi, nididhyasanam, etc. has to be done where you can see it separately from it. So in the case of Swami Maheshananji pointed out that supposing you were to die, then your manomaya kosha goes with you, your pranamaya kosha also goes with you, your vijnanamaya kosha goes with you, your anandamaya kosha goes with you. Only your sthulamaya, your annamaya kosha is given up. Okay? Then in the dream state, your manomaya kosha is kind of there. Pranamaya kosha is there. Vijnanamaya kosha is gone. Anandamaya kosha is still not there. And Annamaya kosha is also gone because your body, which is the Annamaya kosha, is abandoned in the dream. You take up something else. So similarly, there are various stages where different koshas are lost, and through the prakriya, we'll be told how the koshas need to be separated. In fact, in Taittiriya we did that, where the Atma, which is not a kosha, everything else is a kosha, but the Atma is not a kosha, can be seen separately. So we will go into that in more detail. Yeah, Shilpa?
So, just a thought in my head. When we die, so what you said that transfers to, I don't know, next life or something. So if this keeps on happening, wouldn't they be all tangled up because we have so many lives and whatever that you learn now, that should continue? And if so, I'm pretty sure like a lot of people must have learned this in their previous lives too. Shouldn't that help?
So it's actually, that's a good point. So what happens is that you're all turning to a Vedantic class may have started in your previous life. So the fact that you are here interested in something which is contrary to what the experiences are also takes a long time. It doesn't happen overall. It appears that it just because it was a chance that you met somebody and so on and so forth, then but really speaking, the seeds are done ahead of time. But it's a slow process of progressing from your, what kind of a body you order, what kind of a situation you order from your previous life. And it's not, I wouldn't use the word tangled up. Nothing is tangled up. Tangled up means it's kind of like one of those tapes that are tangled up. No, this is all very orderly. Very orderly. It doesn't look like that. And your abandoning your previous life is also very much in the order, because then it'll be tangled up. It'll be, you have some memories of the current family, then you'll have memories of the previous family from two lives ago. That'll be tangled up, but it doesn't happen. It's all very structured. that the Annamaya Kosha is given up, and then this is what is called the inner wealth. This is an important point to see, that in our life, our materialistic goals and spiritual goals we're going to talk about that in the Gita class next. In the spiritual goal, your gains of your life are maintained in the next life. But in the materialistic goals, whatever you earn is given up here. It's useless to you. So it's going to be taken up by someone else. The bank will get it. But in terms of your Suksma Sharira, you will, whatever gains you make, or losses for that matter, will continue. So this is what is called inner wealth as opposed to outer wealth. So inner wealth is learning to reform your thinking, to become pure in your thoughts, become more loving, more forgiving, more tolerant. And those things will stay with you. And if you keep working on it, there comes a point where it will culminate in a examination of who you are, which is nothing but Ishvara itself, which is nothing but Brahman. And that will happen in some life or the other, we don't know when. Or something like that. Yeah. Yes?
So it is in Buddhism they try to explain by bodhisattvas different lives, stage by stage. When he gets one virtue or second virtue and like that, and ultimately reach the Buddha stage.
Okay, I don't know much about that.
There's
So
clearly, more clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then in the Vedic thinking, it is also possible to be born into a better environment, Swargaloka. So that's why we have 7 Swargas, 7 different planes. So there also you can become a Deva also. But the issue is that in all those cases you come back to Manushya Loka. So this is kind of like the grand junction. You can take some sideways here and so on, but you come back to... Why is this? Because both in the animal kingdom as well as in the Deva kingdom, the Kartritvam and only Bhoktritvam is there, Kartritvam is not there. The sense of responsibility is not there. You just enjoy or you suffer, one or the other. But only in the Manushya Loka you have both Kartritvam and doership. Kartritvam means doership. I am doing this. And then Bhoktritvam. And this Kartritvam then also needs to be dissolved in the presence of Ishvara. As I was saying, don't do any sankalpa, just let it go, like a river. And when that happens, then you have started to evolve. That is the higher state of living. And then that leads to a self-discovery which is sure. So, the Vedic thought says that yes, there are swargas and there's hells. All of them are there, but they're all temporary. All temporary. You enjoy for a while, and then you come back to the feeling of who am I? I'm a doer. That also is a primary. It's an intermediate stop. You're not a doer. Ishvara is the doer. But to even consider that point, you have to be a human being. You don't have the ability to think when you're an animal or something like that. I think we're out of time, so we will see you next week.